Good morning, YouTubers, family, and friends. Another gorgeous day this morning. It's November 29th, and up early this morning. Got John ready and prepared him and got him washed up and put in the pool for his morning swim. He's in a happy mood this morning. And it's beautiful right now, but I can already see the clouds moving in from the ocean, from the east. And that's usually kind of what happens in the rainy season. You might get a little bit of this glimpse of sunlight in the morning, but then it clouds over pretty quick. And then sometimes in the afternoon it'll clear out, but for the most part it's mostly cloudy from now through March. So I can already start telling the difference on my solar production starting to go down. My credits I bank to the grid is not as high. Not too much lower, but like an extra 50 kilowatts per month, the way so far from what current indications are. It'll probably go down lower here. December, January, February are the worst 3 months of the rainy season usually here in northwestern Mindanao. But beautiful day today. Just this is my morning drink now. I cut up a half of a lemon and then put it in water with fish oil, or cod liver oil, and some dehydration drink mix. It's potassium and sodium, stuff like that. It's electrolytes, right? So anyways, one thing I was thinking about, that always intrigued me about the human condition and why I escaped the U.S. and after, being in the U.S., born and raised for 50 years, and when I was in my 50s, my eyes kept opening wider and wider and wider to the truth about the whole system and what's going on, and how, I even had a great job, right? A great career in the oil field, working for a major oil company, making really good money, anywhere from 100,000 a year to 250,000 a year, depending on the projects and what we were doing at the time and how I progressed up the pay scale. But that was only for about 15 to 17 years I made that kind of money. Before that, I was making between 50,000 and 100,000, in my 30s and into my 40s, or actually early 40s is when I started making the big good money, or late 30s, around in there. But everybody progresses as they age, as they grow in experience and education, and it don't matter really how much money you make. You're going to spend as you make it. So, some people, but very, very, very few, have the discipline to save and invest and do good at it, do well at it, maintain the discipline. Probably the way I've always looked at it is I've heard and seen so many tragic stories throughout my life of how people had money and lost it. And mostly it's because of the way the system works. The way the system works is to fleece you of your money as fast as it can. It's always hungry for whatever you make, and the more you make, the more it's going to take. And some of it's based on your decisions, but a lot of it's not. It's just the more wealth that you acquire, and the more then, like real estate you acquire more worldly possessions you acquire. There's more and more taxes and fees and permits and licenses and all this stuff that's attached to all these worldly things, right? So as your income goes higher, you're spending more, plus all these taxes and fees and licenses and all this stuff is increasing because the system says that you have to do these things in order to have these things. Well, that's, once I got into my 50s, I realized, no, this is just if your mind and brain is small enough to believe what the system, the bullshit that the system is shoveling out. If you're gonna believe it, you know, that's the biggest part of our lives, where people, the spiritual part of you is never discovered in most people. So they just believe the physical. And the physical says, pay, 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 pay. You must do this, you must do that. Well, the spiritual knows better. It says that this is a bullshit story and you shouldn't be doing it. So finally in my 50s I woke up, but it took me a majority of my life to realize, and I'm talking every kind of tax, every kind of insurance, especially insurance, that's a big one, that people spend thousands, hundreds of thousands on insurance, of every kind of insurance, because they think, oh my God, you know, because it's based on fear, right? That's what goes back to the spiritual. If you have a spiritual faith in the truth about what you think is important in life, all that fear goes away, right? That fear is gone. Therefore, you have no need for insurance. You trust in your higher power. You trust in the faith that you have to get you through life as we know it. So that's the big thing that people get. I mean, and it just washes them out. I mean, they're paying so much money in insurance and all these taxes and licenses and permits and usury fees and blah, blah. I mean, the list goes on forever. They choke some to death financially. And that's why finally, after 2 marriages, one was a divorce and the other one, my second wife died of cancer. On my 3rd marriage, I finally got smart. Moved to a country that had real freedom and it wasn't at every corner trying to take your money through insurance and through what you must be doing, what you have to be doing to be a good patriotic American. You pay this and pay that and pay this and pay that. And good luck to all you out there that think that the U.S. is so great with big money, big pay, blah, blah, blah. Well, good luck trying to live there, because the expenses and the system is enforced, viciously enforced in the U.S. So they're forcing you to pay all these usuries and taxes and licenses and insurance. I mean, you can't even drive over there without insurance. Here, I can drive all day long, all year long, without no insurance on my vehicles. That's right. And that's the way it should be. It should be a personal choice. If your personal mode of transportation, that should be your personal choice of what you're doing. And just there should be no forced insurance. That's making the insurance industry rich and that's what is the deal is. It's these rich, greedy, evil corporations in bed with the governments, and then these corporations are funneling the money to these government officials to keep their money machine going, so they rip the people off constantly. And that's exactly what's going on in these countries. And the U.S. is one of the worst. And it's sad that the people allow this to happen to their country. And that's why I escaped from my country. And not because I hate my country, I don't. I hate what the people have allowed the tyrannical government and corporations to do in my country. That's what I hate. And the only way to escape from that is to say no more. I'm not going to be ripped off anymore. I'm not going to be, fleeced anymore. I'm not going to be completely, insidiously used as a slave, because that's what you are. If they force these things on you through the laws and then vigorously enforce them, you may as well be a slave. And here, that stuff's not required. If you wish to, by your own individual choice, choose to have insurance, go for it. Have insurance. But you know how much money I was spending per year on insurance and all that? Thousands, tens of thousands. And why was I not even blinking an eye? Because I was making big money, right? Making big money, so I said, oh shit, I'm making so much money. What if someone tries to sue me if I accidentally get in a car accident, blah, 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 blah. And that's the way it is in the U.S. You're getting sued all the time. Because the lawyers, these big rich lawyers and the corporations, they got, it's the super rich. These are the people preying on the average common man in the U.S. It's a sad, sad situation. So I just thank God for the spiritual, because only through the spiritual you can open your eyes to the truth of what's going on in this world in certain countries. And I'm thankful for the Philippines. Philippines is the Garden of Eden. The original Garden of Eden was on the Philippines. This is what my belief was, in the Philippines. So Adam and Eve was in this country, in the Garden of Eden. That's the Philippines for you. And all the gold to build King Solomon's temple in Israel was gotten by King Solomon's massive fleet of ships on the Red Sea, came down, went to the east. Ophir is the original name in the Old Bible manuscripts, Dead Sea Scrolls, and all these old manuscripts, and all the super old history. King Solomon brought his fleet here, and there was gold mines. I mean, you could go even to the shore, pick up a handful of sand, and there's nuggets, gold nuggets in it. That's how plentiful it was in the Philippines before, and it still is, but it's harder to get to now because all the super easy gold has been taken. But all that gold was used to build King Solomon's temple in Israel. I mean, all the biblical King Solomon's golden temple, right, that housed the Ark of the Covenant. All that gold, and probably the gold that made the Ark of the Covenant, which is, the Ark of the Covenant is what held the original 10 Commandments written by the finger of God, right? And all this stuff is massively massive history of how God led the people in the history of the world, and where these things come from. And the Philippines plays a massive part in God's plan. And this is the only country in Southeast Asia that speaks English also. And there's many, many mountaintops and many rivers and things in the Philippines that have been named for centuries that are Hebrew names. So put that in your pipe and smoke it too. Do your research. The God series, King Solomon's Gold, look that up on YouTube. I learned a lot of that research from that guy and the research that he's done. And the history is there. The Philippines is going to be, and it is, but because of the English or the U.S., the Americans and the Spanish. Spanish for over 300 years, and the Americans for about 50 years, you know, stole all that gold and all that the resource wealth. But you know what? Still to this day, because the development for most of these 7,000 plus islands in the Philippines has not happened. It's been very, very slow and very, very small amount of development. And you know, for many reasons, logistical reasons also, when you have so many thousands of islands, it's hard to have logistics. So you have people still living on some islands in the Philippines they've lived like that for thousand years. You know, it's just very, very, you know, still in bamboo huts, living in bamboo huts. Even here in northwestern Mindanao, in the deep jungle, most of the people live in bamboo huts here. So, but you know, it's always the most powerful, just like England. England, the sun never set on the English Empire, the British Empire, for what, over 100 years for a while there, because they had so many ships and their fleets were everywhere around the world, and they conquered all kinds of areas and got their land, got their gold, got their silver, got all their resources of many, many countries throughout the world. You know, India is a big example of that. That country of India, the British controlled India for I don't know how long, at least 100 years, and just raped their entire country of resources and controlled it. Right? Watch this movie, this Indian movie from Bollywood. You know, and instead of Hollywood, it's called Bollywood in India. They make some great movies. And watch this movie called RRR. It's triple R, right? So that's the name of the movie, just RRR. And it shows you in an exaggerated way how the British had their boot heels to the necks of the Indians for years, right? And stole all their wealth and treated them all like, you know, just dogs. And that's what the rich and powerful do. They conquer and slaughter the people and treat them like dogs and take all their shit. So that's the way it's been for centuries. So, anyways, I just got all that thought in my head and just wanted to share it with you this morning. So, John's having a good mood. He's happy. And my queen is awake now, and the little prince Leonardo's up. So I'm gonna say goodbye for now. You all take care out there, and hope you have a great day, and God bless. Bye bye.